New from Smelly Solutions, in collaboration with Russian niche house CCCP Fragrances, the world's first permanent fragrance. The freedom-loving peoples of the world today rejoice at this new indelible men's fragrance. Former head of the Soviet sports science program Viktor Kuznetsov, whose herbal preparations helped the USSR sports team to glory in the 70s and 80s, has returned from a long period away from his work and a permanent ban from world sports to apply his skills to the world of fragrance. Eternal Motherland Eau de Toilette opens with top notes of black Russian tea and vodka. In the mid, the anabolic steroid nandrolone gives an almost unnatural power and tenacity. The fragrance is produced in North Korea, allowing us to avoid the petty bourgeois regulations of the imperialist West and include a large dose of oak moss. In the base, uranium harvested from the roof of the Chernobyl sarcophagus ensures longevity of approximately 3,000 years and projection covering most of Europe, depending on wind direction. If you have any ethical concerns, rest assured the product was tested on animals and humans. Eternal Motherland Eau de Toilette. Out now. And coming soon, Eternal Motherland Cologne Sport Parfum Intense, a post-apocalyptic reimagination of the original.
We're going to be talking about Bulgari Aqua Amara. This was a 2014 release from the House of Bulgari. It's a flanker to the original Bulgari Aqua for men, which has been around for many years. The perfumier for this one is Jacques Cavalier, and this would be classed as a citrus aquatic scent. This one cost me £28 only in the UK. The RRP is a little bit higher than that, and I'll put the prices in the United States up on the screen now. Let's have a look at the box then. A very nice box, and it's got a nice sheen to it. The colour scheme is quite good and conjures up that kind of orangey feel that we're going to get with this scent. We open it up and it's sitting nice and snug in there. The actual bottle itself, well, we call it a bottle, but it doesn't exactly look like a bottle. This is supposed to resemble a pebble on a beach, I think. Some people have said it's a drop of water, but I think it's more like a pebble on a beach, in keeping with the aquatic theme of this scent. At first, I wasn't sure if I liked this kind of design. It's very similar to the original Bulgari Aqua. I actually think it's a really nice piece of design now, having got my own one and held it in my hands and had it for a few days. Really nice design. Everything feels nice and heavy and good quality. The glass is quite thick, and the colour scheme, I think, is really nice for this one. So a great bottle and something a little bit different. Let's check out the notes for Bulgari Aqua Amara next then. The only top note listed in this one is mandarin. The mid note is neroli, and the base notes are patchouli and frankincense, which is also sometimes known as Ollie Banham oil. I used to play football with a bloke called Ollie Banham. He was fucking useless. Those are the notes. How does it actually smell? And let's see what the spray is like too. Here we go. Really nice big spray, good distribution. Great citrus fresh opening. Smells like oranges. That's the best way I can describe it. It's mandarin orange, similar kind of thing. So yeah, my first impression, I think, even if I wasn't really someone who'd spent a lot of time thinking about and collecting fragrances, I think I would notice that there was an orange note. I don't think it's a terribly natural smelling orange note. I think it's a little bit synthetic. But I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just, I do have some fragrances that I've smelled or own, such as Atelier Cologne's Orange Sanguine, and even one of my favourites, Agua de Colonia Concentrada, the cheap Spanish one, that have a slightly more natural orange opening. But this one has a more of a synthetic feel, a bit like the kind of synthetic citrus feel you get with things like Acqua di Gio and Versace Pour Homme. So a very nice opening. Mainly you're getting citrus. It's citrus, it's orange, it's a little bit of neroli, it's a kind of soapy freshness in there as well. And as it dries down, we do get a little bit more depth and complexity, but not a huge amount, but it's not completely linear. So the citrus top note I have found with this one really sticks around a long time, and even after quite a long time I'm still getting a hint of that orangey kind of smell, which I really like. And if you're buying it for the reason that you like citrus fresh scents, that's got to be a good thing. The frankincense, now I mean that's sometimes sort of a sort of churchy smell. It's kind of thing, you know, you'd expect to find it in an amouage scent or something like that, but you don't get that kind of feel with this one. What you do get is a little bit of character and depth, and perhaps even a very, very slightly smoky incense kind of accord, but it is very much in the background and never really comes to the fore. But there's something nice and pleasant that reminds me of some other scents where I've got incense in them that I do own, but it is much more subtle and subdued than some of those ones, things like Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum, that kind of thing. So I guess that's taking the place of woody notes in this one, where we normally expect some woody notes. If I hadn't read the note list and I wasn't being influenced by that, I might say maybe there might be a little bit of vetiver or something subtly in there, but I'm not too sure. The other note that's listed that's got to be significant here is patchouli, and again, I do get a little bit of a warm patchouli kind of note in there, but it never really takes centre stage. It's not one of these patchouli bombs like some of the scents where patchouli is quite noticeable. So if you're not a huge fan of patchouli, don't be put off. That never comes to the fore. The overall impression of this one, it's not one where certain notes really jump out of you. It's an overall impression, and it's a very, very pleasant, well done citrus, fresh, aquatic scent. It smells like there's almost a bit of an ozonic accord in there as well. That's not officially listed in the notes. Things that this reminds me of, and things that you might like to know that it smells like if you've perhaps smelt them but not this one. It does remind me of the aforementioned Versace Pour Homme a little bit. I'm not saying they smell just like each other, because they don't, but it does the same kind of thing. It's a fresh citrus designer scent, not incredibly natural smelling. You can tell it's got a sort of synthetic feel, but I mean that kind of in a good way, because those synthetics sometimes allow things to punch through and pierce through the air in a way that can be really likable. So I'm just saying that, not that it smells like Versace Pour Homme, but if you like things like that, you may well like this. Versace Pour Homme, Chanel Allure Homme Sport smell very similar to one another. Acqua di Gio, another example of a really good fresh citrus scent. This one's in that kind of ballpark. I also sniffed out this week, because I was thinking about these kind of smells, I tried out Versace Man Eau Fresh. If you like things like that, you might well like this one. They don't smell identical, but they have that same kind of vibe going on. Compliments on this one. I'll be honest with you, I haven't worn it enough to have got a clear picture of that. The people I've asked about it, and I have asked about 2 or 3 people, have all said that they really liked it and that it was good. Somebody who was a little bit more into perfume said it was good, but just one of those citrus fresh ones, a good one, but that style didn't excite that person. So, and that's a good way of describing it. It's a good citrus aquatic fresh scent. Compliments on this one. I just can't see anyone saying it's not nice or, ooh, what's that, I don't like it. So you're probably not going to offend anyone with this one. It does project, so you're going to get noticed. So there's a good chance of attracting positive attention on this one. I have heard recently it said that when we focus always on women's reactions and is it a panty dropper and that kind of thing, that's a little bit sexist. I can understand that point of view, and I really like assessing fragrances purely from the point of view of the art of fragrance, and just the fact that we enjoy them for ourselves as men wearing them, and they make us feel confident. So on the other hand, I don't think it's necessarily inherently sexist to have a slight interest in whether girls might like this. If I was to say that if you wear this, you're going to go out and that probably would be sexist, so I won't say that. How's the performance on this one? Well, I've been wearing it for quite a while. I only actually got it this week about 2 or 3 days ago, but I have been wearing it a lot because I had a decant of it, a 5ml decant, and as you can see, I've used up quite a bit. So I've worn it mainly in the, pretty much always in the daytime. I've got good longevity out of this one, and if you look at other reviewers, they've also had really good longevity out of this one in the main, the people who've spoken about it on YouTube. So a good 5 or 6 hours I'm getting, maybe a little bit more than that, but to me, I think 5 or 6 hours is plenty and pretty realistic. I know some people like to get 8, so they get a full work day. I can't say for sure, but I would place performance overall in the good category. I have a simple system. I have 4 categories for performance: poor, medium, and good, and with a possible special category of beast mode for really strong ones. So if it falls in the good category for me, that's okay. It's not particularly close to being beast mode, but it performs well. Certainly when you first spray it, first hour or 2, I've sprayed maybe 5 or 6 sprays in the daytime, and I have thought a few times, wow, I'm really getting quite a lot of citrus. I hope I haven't oversprayed. So that's a good thing. If you have to be careful not to spray too much rather than the other way around, that you have to overspray to get an effect, that's a good thing. So performance seems pretty good, particularly considering it's a citrus aquatic scent. So good performance. I'm not saying it's amazing. I'm not saying everyone's definitely going to get the same experience, but I don't think anyone would say it was pathetic or weak. Definitely not in the poor category. Maybe average for some people. I would call it good. So good performance. Great smell. I like this smell. I prefer it at the moment to Versace Pour Homme, one of the other citrus designer aquatics that I've got in my collection. If we're talking about other well-liked fresh type scents out there, I've got, of course, the much talked about and big seller here, Dior Sauvage. I really like the soapiness of that. I'm not saying these two are exactly in the same category, but I prefer this one to that. If I'm looking to just smell fresh and clean, get some nice projection, but smell a bit different to everybody else, I'd probably go for Bulgari Aqua Amara over Dior Sauvage. Dior Sauvage, by the way, I do think has very good performance, because I've got a couple of comments of people when I've worn it. So I'll come back to that one a little bit in some later videos, but this is really beginning to get a little bit of a reputation for being a strong performer. I'm still not blown away by the actual smell of it, but it's beginning to convince me that it has rather good performance. Anyway, back to the subject in hand, Aqua Amara. Not too much else to say about this one. In my humble opinion, and I try a lot of citrus freshies because I kind of like that style. I like niche stuff. I like Acqua di Parma stuff and those cologne type fragrances where they have a little bit higher level ingredients, and citrus stuff can be quite prominent. I like things like Creed's Neroli Sauvage, Tom Ford Neroli Portofino. But if we're talking about citrus fresh aquatic type scents, in my opinion, Aqua Amara by Bulgari is really one of the best you can get there. The price is really good. The smell is fresh, manly, invigorating. It could be called a sports scent. You know, it's all about marketing. So they're calling this line Aqua. It could be called Bulgari Home Sport or something like that. So if you're looking for like a sporty fresh scent, this is a superb example. You could wear it in the daytime all year round, in my opinion. Obviously works well in hot weather, be fine in spring. There's no reason why you can't wear it to work in the autumn and even in the winter if you just want to smell fresh and clean. Nights out, I would wear it also in the summer, and I would wear it in the autumn time and definitely the spring, and maybe even in the winter if I felt in the mood for it. If you're going to a formal occasion, going to a wedding, maybe a hot date where you want to sort of make a little bit more of a dressed up, I've made an effort impression, perhaps there are better options to go for because it's just fresh, clean and citrusy, so it has a little bit of a fun, fresh vibe about it. Overall then, a great scent. My mark for this one, I'd actually go for an 8.5 out of 10 because I think it's a great, well done citrus aquatic scent in the designer realm. So thank you very much for watching, and remember, whatever we're doing in life, let's project. Coming up in my next 1 or 2 reviews, we've got Gorse from Perfume Laboratories. Just got this one. I've been working off a sample of this one for a while now that I've used several times and used up the whole little mini splash sample. Great scent that smells a lot like Creed Virgin Island water. It's for a much lower price, and I think the performance might be rather better, significantly so in fact. Also, I'm going to be doing a video comparing Silver Mountain Water by Creed to Silver by Al Rehab, and another mystery contender which I'm rather interested in at the moment, so look out for that. See you next time. Bye everybody.